We are live once again. It's your boy EKB TV. Vintage Cigar. Time for another moment of Smoke Your Best. I'm going to allow the drum roll, let the algorithm do what the algorithm does, and get the message out to people that we are live and we are broadcasting live. I am going to be smoking Don Carlos the Man today. Got a cool story to go along with this cigar. Oh, nope, this is the Aladino. It's the backup just in case. This is the man. Don Carlos the Man. My Warriors are playing right now. Unintentionally, I got on my Warriors colors, but that's in solidarity. I didn't mean to do that, but that worked out. Currently, we have a lead. Steph Curry is playing the way Steph Curry should play. We are about to take out the Clippers in just a few minutes. The rookie, Pajemski, is doing what he's supposed to do. Shouts out to everybody that has joined in so far. Thank you for hitting that like button, for joining in. I appreciate you guys. That was a nice little jump. Everybody that's joining in, thank you for hitting that like button. Please give me a thumbs up or some kind of notification that you can hear me clearly. I don't have on any headphones at this time, so I'm hoping that the audio is doing what it is supposed to do. That is the goal here. So shouts out to everybody for joining in. Today, this is another segment of Smoke Your Best Cigars. I want to do this long enough, hopefully the rain doesn't come down and take me out. We shall see. It's been kind of rainy here in Sasebo, Japan, and I don't have very much cover. So my whole situation is a little damp at the moment. Give me the thumbs up if you guys can hear me clearly. Let me know that that is the case before I get too deep into the game. Thank you to everybody that hit the like button. Thank you to everybody that's joined in. Once I know everybody, sounds good, sounds good. Appreciate you, Enzo. That's exactly what I needed to hear at the moment. What I wanted to talk about, man, is a couple things. The main thing is the journey of the chase and chasing that cigar. When you have a wish list or there's a specific cigar that you're trying to get and trying to get a hold of, and some of the fun in that journey is coming across and meeting people who can, give you a cigar, or maybe you find a cigar online that you've been looking for forever, or maybe you just happen to go into a brick and mortar and, they got some old dusty cigars, and that cigar that you've been thinking about for the past 2 or 3 years is right there and you can never get your hand on it, and you finally got it. You can spend whatever amount of money on that cigar. That is part of the fun of this hobby that we have. The thrill of the chase, chasing that dragon. Sometimes you're chasing a flavor profile. Sometimes you're chasing a specific cigar. Sometimes, you're just chasing that nostalgia and that moment that you have when you smoked a cigar with your uncle, or you smoked a cigar with your best friend, or you had it at a wedding and you didn't know if you were ever going to get that cigar again, or whatever the case may be. That's kind of the fun of it, man. And the endorphins that you get when you get a cigar that you've been looking for however amount of time, or when you actually light the cigar up and it tastes the way you wanted the cigar to taste, and it sends the chills all over your body, that kind of thing. That's what we're talking about here right now. So hopefully my lighting is going to be okay. You guys know I'm a Fuente guy. I love Fuente. And my favorite line out of Fuente is not Opus X. It's not the Story brand. It is Don Carlos. So it's been a while, and I've been chasing the man, Don Carlos the Man. And this is not a cigar that I see very often. It's not one of those that it's kind of like, it's one of those limited cigars. You just never know if you're ever going to get your hands on this cigar. And I finally got it. And I have a story based on how I got that cigar once we get this lit up and, get rolling. I can't wait to taste this cigar. Enzo said, recently heard about the Man, same band as the Anniversario edition. Wonder if it's a similar blend. So from what I've read about this cigar, Enzo, that it's not similar to anything that's on the Don Carlos line. That it's supposed to be really unique, and it's supposed to be separate from a lot of the other cigars that are out there. I don't know if this is the case or not. This is my first time, but just on doing some subsequent reading and just kind of digging into it to see what the story was behind the man. That's what I got. Um, and they're doing the thing that they do with a lot of the opus and some of the special releases and all that, where the cigar itself is how do you say is undisclosed, where there are not a lot of details on the cigar. Thank you for hitting that like button, y'all. That is, it's not a lot of details disclosed on the cigar, and you gotta kind of know. Um, it is what it is. I don't understand, always doing the undisclosed things unless they're getting like illegal tobacco, like some Cuban tobacco that they're not supposed to have access to. I don't really understand the process of having undisclosed. I guess it may also be the fact that they want to keep the blend special to this particular cigar, so nobody can recreate it. Who because just like with the review side of the cigar um, community, I guess the blending side will be the same. That somebody's always going to be kind of looking over at your paper to kind of see what you're working on, so they can kind of add a little bit into what they're doing. It happens. It is what it is. But I find this cigar to be unique. Um, if you guys were on the live that we did with the Infamous Smoke Show, if you aren't familiar with the Infamous Smoke Show, after this live, go to the Infamous Smoke Show, subscribe to the channel. It is the New Wave, myself, Matt, DJ with Pick Jimmy, John Cigar Alchemist, Michael with Master Your Ash, and all of our friends who join in with the New Wave. That is our channel from for when we do lives and go live and things like that. So we need more subscribers over there. Go check it out. Y'all know the show is fun. But while we were on that show, we were talking about just cigars that kind of have that manure smell and just have or smell like fertilizer. I've talked about other cigars before that are very strong with that very what they call it barnyard. I hate that terminology, but it's a terminology that's used. It smells like manure and just straight up and down. This cigar is probably one of the strongest that I've ever smelled. It smells like not even just a barnyard. It smells like just dung. It smells like manure. But that actually gets me excited. Matter of fact, when we were talking about that, Sanj Patel was in the the viewership at the moment, and he chimed in and he was like, "That is a good sign for your cigar." I've always thought the same. I want my tobacco to taste like tobacco. I want my tobacco to taste like that it has been treated well with rich, you know, soil with a lot of nutrients and all of that, and I want it to be aged in a place that is stank, that is and not stank, but that's funny, or dank, and it's gonna have that very earthy ness to it, and it's gonna allow it to ferment and age the way that it's supposed to. That is a great sign for this cigar, and that has me extremely excited. I don't often get very much into the cold draw and to the smell of the cigar on the outside. Speaking of, if you guys were on the live that I did on Instagram, follow me, the Vintage Cigar, on Instagram. If you do not, when I go live there, I just recently had the Generoso by Ferio Tego, and when I tell you that cigar smells beautifully, it smells so good. Like just the natural aroma from that cigar is probably one of the best that is out on the market. But the cigar itself does not taste like anything. That is dramatic irony at its best, right? When you smell the cigar, you're like, oh my God, this cigar smells so amazing. It smells wonderful. When you like the cigar, you're like, man, this cigar smells so wonderful. But then when you smoke the cigar, it's like, I can't taste shit. That is a major letdown. However, I'm not expecting that to be the case with this cigar. So who we got? We got the Gentleman's Journal up in here. What's good, my brother? What's good with you? I am puffing on, and since you're just coming in, we were talking about The Man by Don Carlos, the 1935, just in honor of Carlito's dad, Arturo Fuente. And the whole thing that I was getting into is about chasing the cigars that you want and finally getting to smoke the cigar that you've been looking for however many years or however many months or whatever the case it may be. I finally got a cigar that I've been chasing for a minute. Mm. It feels so good to light that fucker up. You guys know. Mm. That I love Fuente. That is more robust than I was expecting. It's already given like, ooh, like oak, and very strong woods. I got a little bit of a hole right there. You see that? It's changing my draw. But I don't think that's going to be a worry. And I don't think that was a beetle, but it looks like it could be. All right. Anyway, so while we're doing that, let me get into the story behind this cigar. I got to cover this up while I'm smoking. That's funny. I've never had that happen before. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Very rich, oaky, woody. I'm getting a little bit of pepper on there. Some, very strong mixed nuts. Wow. I'm hoping this develops to a little bit sweeter to give me like some caramel or something along the lines to go with that, but we shall see. You guys know that I'm in Japan, and I've been here for quite some time. And it's really cool when you're meeting people, through your channel. It was one of the coolest things for me to actually drive through California and be able to pull up at Matt, the Cigar Hound Dog's house, and give him a bag of cigars, thinking I'm gonna drop a bomb on him, and then he drops a bomb back on me, that kind of thing, and actually get to shake hands with somebody that I talk to on a fairly regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Like we are thousands of miles apart, and it was just cool to be able to actually shake hands with somebody that I've been talking to for quite some time, and sharing cigars with, and sharing stories with, and sharing bandwidth, and this whole time, and to actually meet the man in person was mad cool. And it was surprising, like, to see him in person. He's tall as hell. I did not know, just from seeing him sit there in a flowered shirt with his dog, to be as tall as he was. Motherfucker's tall as shit. I'm short, but I'm not like 5'4", 5'5", anything. I'm not Kevin Hart short. I'm more like average height, right? So it just kind of caught me off guard. I hop out the car and the dude comes out of his garage. I'm like, oh shit, what up, dude? That caught me off guard. But saying that to say that it's real cool to finally get to meet the people that that you respect, and that you build a rapport with. So being here in Japan, that doesn't get to happen a lot. A lot of the times when I get the chance to just kind of kick back and he said smoke the Gurkha and it sucked. I tried to tell you, man. Texas, I was trying to warn you so you didn't have to do that. Ghost spooky. Hey, some people like the ghost, man. I just don't bother with that, man. It's garbage to me. In Japan, we say gomi, gomi desu, gomi desu ne. Yes, it is trash, basura. You ain't have to do that to yourself. But anyway, I ain't gonna joke on. I'm not gonna joke on Gurkha this whole time. Say you didn't want to, but how you end up smoking that shit? So being here in Japan, man, I don't get to meet people very often, and I'm usually just this is my moment to actually have a conversation with the people who follow the channel, and with the people that are in the cigar community, because even the people who do smoke cigars here, most of the time there is a language barrier. I don't get a chance to have a conversation with them. You know what I'm saying? So that it's kind of an isolating thing. So a few weeks back, there was a homie that watched the channel, and he had sent me a message a couple times, and we had chopped it up, and he was like, yo, I'm gonna be in Japan I'm gonna be in Fukuoka, and I'm gonna be traveling with my wife all over Japan. I would love to have a cigar with you, just to sit back and chill and the whole nine. And I was like, bet if I got free time, we're gonna do that. Cigars Unbanded up in here. What up, man? Smoking Trucker, what up? He said he made it to a second, third of the gurkha. Yo, yeah. Y'all guys are funny, yo. What up, fellas? So, I'm I'm talking to my man. I'm like, look, man, if I got time, I definitely wanted to catch up with you. You know, I would love to have a cigar with you. It would be great to actually meet someone that actually watches the channel. That'll be a cool thing, man. So weekend passes by. He lets me know that he's gonna be in town, and during the weekend, man, we're still getting settled in the house, and I'm doing stuff for the family. I'm working my ass off, and I told him that I was gonna meet him on Monday in Fukuoka. Fukuoka is about 2 hours away from where I am. It's a little bit of a hike to get where I gotta go in the whole nine, right? All right, man. Be safe while you're traveling out there to Florida, man. So while I'm on the way, and trying to do the thing, I'm telling my man like, yo, I'm gonna meet you, on Monday. Monday comes and I'm working, and I'm doing stuff behind the scenes. I'm doing stuff for the wife. I'm doing stuff for the kids. I'm meal prepping. I'm just like, I got a lot of shit going on. And the evening comes, and I'm making dinner, and I'm having a conversation with my wife, and I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to be meeting, one of the viewers from my channel on Monday. And I'm like, oh, it's Monday. And it's already late in the afternoon. I got food going, I got, hella Tupperware containers out. And I'm like, fuck, I'm not gonna be able to meet this guy. And he's probably gonna think like I'm, just faking jacks, and I'm not trying to meet him, and that kind of thing. And like I try my best to be a man of my word. I may be slow, I may be late, but I always try to, do what I say I'm gonna do. This hole is really weird, man. Do you see that? It's like it's burning around everything but that. Anyway, but I sent him a message like, yo, dude, I'm sorry, man. I know I was supposed to meet you today. Let me try to meet you somewhere further down the line. So he goes to Beppu. Beppu, I'm thinking it's another 2-hour drive away. Come to find out, it's closer to 4 hours. So, man of my word, I drive out to Beppu, and I meet him and his wife, working my way through the trains. And it was kind of a good thing because it was a way that I could see another city in Japan that I had never seen before. That part was cool. And long story short, we sat down, and I took him a bag of cigars because I've been trying to give back to all the people that have been sharing, cigars with me. And, I've been trying to, make my rounds and give cigars back to people. And I give him, a bomb of cigars. We just sitting in a little izakaya with him and his wife, and just telling stories and talking. And I'm telling you guys, I'm having the greatest time. And he was like, yo, man, you got me these cigars. I really want to, return the favor. I'm like, nah, it's not about that, man. I really just want to, you've been watching the show. You've actually been, a great viewer on the channel, man. And it's just dope to actually get to meet somebody that's cool as hell. All right? What more could you ask for? Like, that's just some dope shit, to just be able to chop it up with somebody and to have a lot in common with them. We both have, background in the kitchens and things like that. He works in a pizza shop. So his wife was super cool, and we were just having a fun time. We were laughing. And he was like, nah, come by the hotel before you get out of here, and let me get you some cigars. He comes down, and one of the cigars that he brings to me is The Man by Don Carlos. I dropped that motherfucker. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? Oh well, it still smokes. Anyway, and it was just kind of a dope thing that he actually took the time to give me a cigar that I've been looking for forever. I broke this motherfucker. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? It is a good cigar. So that being said, since I broke the cigar that you can see here, that's gonna lead me into the next thing that there's I don't know if you guys have heard of Siglu. I'm gonna be doing an actual recorded video for Siglu where I repair cigars and stuff like that. I'm laughing too, man. It's funny that I dropped this motherfucker. Yeah, but shouts out to the Angel Cuesta, man. That's a great cigar. But I'm smoking Don Carlos the Man. That was what this whole thing was about. I can't believe I dropped this son of a bitch though. Just char around the ring. I don't know what that means. Wait, I recommended a Padron? What? Wait. Sake to blame? Nah, it ain't no sake, man. I don't drink. I'm just clumsy as fuck. I don't know how I dropped that shit. I don't know what fuck had just happened with that. I don't know. It's still smoking though. It might crack, but I don't care. I wish I could blame it on the alcohol. That being said, I am doing a review on cigar repair for Sigaloo. So they sent me a couple things to send out, so I'll be doing that soon. I'm not really getting the caramel that I expected on this. It's a lot more leather than I expected with this cigar. More wood, oak, cedar, leather. It's really different than I expected. It's more of an armchair cigar. Wasn't expecting that. But damn, I can't believe I dropped this cigar, man. Oh, yo, dude, I was really trying to figure out like when did I recommend a Padron to anybody? It's like what? Was I drunk? That might have been like sake. I might have been drinking then. I don't drink, so like anyway, I don't want to say that because to get on the Padron topic, I don't want to say that because I'm trying to think of a Padron that I might actually recommend to somebody, but I couldn't see it happening. I guess if somebody was just like, yo, I want a spicy cigar that's really just dark, and only thing I can taste is coffee, and I want a real high quality cigar. If that was the case, then I would be like, yo, you definitely want a 1926 by Padron. That would probably be the only way that I would do it. Like, look, you don't care what your budget is, you don't care what you're spending on the cigar. Maybe I would do it if that's the case. RS88 though. Which RS88 you got, man? It was it the Cameroon? Hopefully it's the Cameroon. Either way, like you're winning. So, and man, yeah, cigars are definitely best smoked indoors, man. But y'all saw my short. I can't smoke indoors here. So, my wife would choke the fuck out of me if I tried to smoke a cigar. It would be an issue, man. And it ain't it like I'm cool where I am right now. It ain't worth that fight. I could probably win the fight, not the physical fight. I wouldn't physically fight my wife, but just the fight over whether I could smoke in the house. I could probably get away with it, but then I would probably have to spend hella money or try to finagle my way to get a rabbit air, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. All right, my man got the Cameroon. Shouts out. I got banned from indoors too. And it's just one of those things, dog. Like, I understand. And when you gotta think about the maintenance, especially like I know it's people that smoke more cigars than I do, but I know if I smoke cigars fairly frequently, right, and I'm smoking in the house all the time, to get that out of my furniture and get it out of out of the rug or out of the wood, just like it ain't worth that fight, dog. I can see if I had like one of those like Jeremy Sears type rooms that I've already like spent a shit ton of money and I got like 4 rabbit airs and purifiers and all that kind of shit. But the amount of effort that it would take for me to maintain smoking in my house and getting the ventilation and the cost into why? It ain't worth it. It ain't really worth it, B. Yeah. And I get why you wouldn't smoke in the truck, man. Like I wondered, if I was a trucker, could or would I do that? But I don't think a lot of people talk about this enough. But when you leave cigars behind, like if you leave them like as like a half a cigar, or if you leave like a butt behind or something like that, when that cigar gets funky, man, that is one of the worst smells ever, man. It really just it overpowers everything. You can take a cigar that smells so wonderful, and then after it sits with the residue for a while and it gets all stale, that is one of the like it's one of the grossest smells in the world. Like I can't stand it. So I'm having that in your car or your truck or your house. It's just like it is a fermented product. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you're putting charcoal on it and you burning it and shit like that, and your breath and shit, and just bacteria growing. And, it ain't no fun. So I'm cool with being outside. Plus, it's gorgeous out here. Y'all want to see something dope? I don't know if the camera's gonna hold this shit up, but look, you can check out the clouds that's on the mountains up here. Look at this shit. That's a tall ass fucking mountain. All that you see up there, the clouds up there. I'm cool smoking out here, man. You know what I mean? I can sit back here and have a smoke with y'all. Anybody that's on a computer right now, if y'all guys are on a computer, if you're near a TV, check out the score for me. Golden State Warriors versus the Los Angeles Clippers. I don't have my laptop up here, so y'all tell me what the score is, man. Y'all keep me abreast on my squad. See if I'm still winning right now. Steph Curry was going off when I last checked the game. So Sal said one of my all-time favorites is straight up regular Don Carlos line. That's what I was saying in the beginning of this joint, man. Don Carlos is my absolute favorite out of the Fuentes. It's not the Hemingway and storyteller line. It's not Opus X. Give me I like the Chateau and all that, but yo, give me Don Carlos all day. Don Carlos Personal Reserve is a damn good, but for my money, Don Carlos number 3 and number 4. I tell people number 4 all the time. That's one of my go-tos. Like if you want to understand the experience of Don Carlos without spending the money on getting the shark, then go with the number 4. I'm totally with you on that, Sal. That Personal Reserve, the last time I had that cigar was actually plugged, and that's a cigar that I want to get back to. We only up 2? Blood clot, man. What? All right, so y'all, come on. Who's up? So one person said we down 2, and somebody else said we up 2. Which y'all trying to mess with me? Y'all just messing with me. We were up 10 the last time I checked, man. God, dang it. But you know what's interesting though? This does not taste anything like the Don Carlos line. It's not similar at all. This is more closer to like a My Father than it is to Don Carlos. It's really interesting. Warriors up. All right, bet. All right, good looking out, Bout. Good looking out, Ty. Appreciate y'all for checking that for the homie. 7 minutes, man. That's a long time, but we up. So long as if we up, then it's up. Good looking out for me. Let's see. I do cigar and beer reviews while discussing Emma gambling on my content. Emma. Discussing Emma. You got to correct me on that. Maybe I didn't understand what that was. And I want you, if you get a chance, if you're on Instagram, go to the Vintage Cigar, man, and send me your content. Send me all of your page content so I can MMA words. So, hey, you talking that talk then? Yeah, definitely send me all of your stuff, man, so I can subscribe and check you out. Sorry, I hate spitting on camera. That was nasty. All right, so let me see. Going to stay up. I'm looking forward to my father Tatum collab. I'm gonna try that collab. Somebody the other day said it was like the Wish Fuente Padron collab, which is kind of funny to me. I thought that was really funny. I think that was Peter that said that, by the way. I'm not really sure, but that's mad funny. But we're gonna see. I'm hoping it's good because I don't know if we're ever gonna get that Padron Fuente thing. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. I don't know what the hell is going on with that, but I don't know. But I'm interested to see, man. And if you get that before me, Bout, let me know how that goes, man. Yeah, man, I saw that supposedly we wanted LeBron James. And, I was talking to somebody. I went to the gym today to do a little boxing, man. I went to the gym today to get my jump rope on and to shoot some hoops. And it's this cat that's in there, man, and he and I talk basketball all the time, man. And he brought it up to, to me as well. And he asked me what I thought about it. And I'm so glad that that didn't happen because I don't want the NBA to lose the rivalries. Thank you to everybody that hit that like button. I think it's down here. I always mess it up. But thank you for hitting that like button. But I don't want the NBA to lose rivalries. You know what I'm saying? And the last real surviving rivalry that we have right now, back when it was, you used to have Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, and you had, Magic versus Bird, and you had, Jordan, versus Isaiah, or, Jordan versus everybody, that kind of thing. You need that in the NBA. You need that tension. And the last real rivalry that we have right now is Steph Curry versus LeBron. And to see them team up would have broken my heart. Honestly. One, I can't stand LeBron. And to have to cheer for LeBron with, yeah, I don't want it. Ugh, the thought of that just makes me sick, right? But I could see, and it would have tainted the legacy of the Golden State Warriors, right? Because one thing that we have right now, up by 3. God, thanks, bro. Thanks for keeping me on point, Sal. God, the thing is that what we have right now is Golden State was able to have the most wins, and then they were able to get that first championship. Then they got the championships when the 2 championships when KD came over, and everybody was like, "Oh, y'all couldn't have won without KD." Whoop de whoop de whoop. So we got our get back in 22, and we needed that win. We needed that championship where it was just Steph going off, Steph getting all the accolades. And yeah, that's what people were complaining about. You know what I mean? So we could erase that when Steph was able to come back and show that he was one of the greatest, and he was able to get the win without without KD. And if to have LeBron to come on the team and to do it would feel nasty to me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a diehard, and that would have been nasty. Plus, like, Golden State doing it. All right, we got 4 minutes. Like, I don't want to get hyped, but good looking out. Keep me posted. Appreciate you. Nothing wrong with the NBA to pair LeBron and it's a lot wrong with it, dude. It's too much wrong with it. It's too much wrong with it. I wouldn't be able to live with the fact that they were just like, oh, you needed LeBron, and I don't want either one of them to taint their legacies. Even like LeBron has done enough to his own legacy. I don't want Steph to do that again. Like if it happened naturally, so be it. But I mean, it would have been some phenomenal basketball. I can't lie. Like to see like that inside outside game, they would really be untouchable. You thought like with KD and Steph being untouchable, or with Wade and LeBron being untouchable, you wouldn't be able to touch the Warriors. And the referees on their side, then when they would actually start calling fouls for Steph, because they would have to put the Warriors on the line if LeBron James was playing for them, the same way they do the Lakers right now. They would be unbeatable. Like literally, they might go undefeated. But maybe that's what they were trying to do. Now that I'm thinking about it, now I'm talking through it with you guys. I'm talking through it like that. That's probably what they were trying to do. They were probably trying to get the record for the most unbeatable team. But I'm so glad that didn't work out. Warriors by 4. We rolling. That's what. Let that keep rising. I know Steph going off. I know Steph blacking out right now. I see the business side. I understand the business side, and that's what I was kind of leaning into. It would be bad for the game though, man. Because here's the thing. The thing with basketball is like you need competition. But see, Magic and Kareem happen organically. The same way that the Steph, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, that happened organically. The same thing with Pippen and Jordan. That happened organically. That wasn't like, hey, we need to go out here and get this other player to be on the top of the top. LeBron is old, but LeBron is also on PEDs, so his old doesn't count the same as everybody else's old. Think about this, man. The way LeBron, as a playmaker, as much as I can't stand LeBron, one thing that I do understand and respect about his game is the fact that he can pass his ass off, and he is a floor general. He is brilliant as far as being able to, pass the ball and move the ball. So with him being a playmaker, having Draymond Green, LeBron, and Steph on the floor at one time, you're not beating that, man. You're not gonna be able to beat that. That inside outside defense offense, it's unstoppable. I don't care if you got Harden and Paul George or whom, you're not beating that team. It could be Jokic, it could be Giannis. It's nobody in the NBA right now that would be able to beat that team. It's impossible. And I as much as I like competition in sports. That's why I hate steroids and I hate all that kind of stuff because I love competition in sports. I like being able to mentally get ahead of the team that is supposed to beat you and being able to beat them. And like that's what the whole thing about holding up the Lombardi is all about. Is like you were able to beat your rival. You were able to beat the better team on the other end. That is what I need. God dang it, man. They're going back and forth like a seesaw right now. All right, we're going to keep rolling. What up, mixtape? What it do? All right, TRT, like, getting old, I understand. I don't really sweat TRT as much. But that's a lot different than, like, Trinidad and what's the other joint? I don't know, I was drawing a blank trying to taste the cigar. But, just whatever, like, real, like, HGH and, like, real steroids. That kind of shit. That's a whole different thing. Testosterone, we lose testosterone over time. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. But that I can kind of live with. Like, human beings gotta go through that. But when you're actually playing in the Olympics, or if you're playing basketball, if you're playing football, if you're in MMA, it ain't a fair fight. Especially when you're trying to go in, when somebody's trying to go in there. Oh, weightlifting. When you're trying to go in and you're trying to be natty, and you're trying to see what you can physically do, and then you're taking stuff to enhance. If you're running track and field, that shit has never been cool to me, man. But if you're on a day-to-day basis and you're trying to maintain your health, and you're trying to maintain like your manhood and all that kind of stuff, I get TRT. That's something that your doctor can put you through, and you can do it in a safe manner that you're not abusing your body. Because when you see these cats, if you look at like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or if you look at like Ronnie Coleman right now, like they look like different human beings. If you look at what's the guy, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and Vince McMahon, and you look at these cats when they come off of these cycles, it's just like, why would you do that to yourself? Look at LeBron's hairline. Why would you do that to yourself? That's the stuff. That's a different ball game to me. Ty said, I believe the Lakers would have demanded Draymond in the trade, and that's probably what happened. But did you see at what was it at the Super Bowl? LeBron and Draymond were together, and I got my own personal conspiracy theory that Draymond was actually trying to play with LeBron. That's really what he wants to do. And I think he was going through that whole temper tantrum because he was trying to get over to the Lakers. So don't be shocked if you see in a few years that either LeBron is in a Golden State Warriors uniform, or if Draymond is in a Lakers uniform. Don't be shocked. Yeah, man, it's really life altering, man. It's really some crazy stuff that doing that to your body, man. And I ain't a big fan of that. I'm not a fan of what it does to your body, and I'm not a fan of what it does to sports in general. I'm a purist when it comes to that, and I know that. And so I try not to be judgmental, but it's just not one of those things that I like in the game. That Russian whistleblower was claiming that the Russian athletes were on steroids, skiers, snowboarders, biathletes. Yeah, that whole Russian scandal was crazy, dog. It was crazy. It was real crazy. And I'm glad that got out. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that it became public, and I'm glad they did the sanctions and all the stuff. Up by 7. What? They see the Warriors must be fouling and turning the ball over. So when they start doing that, it can only be like what, 2 minutes left, a minute left. Blood clot, man. God. All right, it is what it is, man. Y'all can see me reconciling with this shit on my face right now. Thanks for keeping me posted, man. I'm a little salty, man. I thought we was gonna pull this one out. God. It is time to remove the ban. We're getting close, but we ain't there yet, but it's close. I was really trying to keep this thing together, mainly. I will say this, man. This smokes a lot more like a Opus X than it does Don Carlos. And I like it, but I don't love it. I would say if you were more into the Opus X line, then this is what you would want. It's cool. It is a big assessment, man, but I mean, it's really one of those things that, like, for me, the Opus line is very much so kind of like old school style, softer profile, a little bit of pepper, and a lot more woods, leather, kind of an oilier base cigar. That's usually what I get from it. Very Dominican. And I feel like the Don Carlos line gives you a lot more of a sweeter profile and a richer, creamier smoke to me. And you get a little more of the fruits in there and that type of thing. So, what's my favorite Opus X? That's a tough one. Because honestly, I haven't been in love with Opus X line. Honestly. Me and John from Cigar Alchemist go back and forth a lot. Because he loved the Angel Share, and I wasn't really feeling the Angel Share. Maybe the Power Ranger. I would probably say the Power Ranger. Yeah, but I'm not the biggest Opus fan, to be honest. Curry been getting off, man. Curry, when I last saw his stats, man, Curry was like 50, 50, and 100% from the line, man. 50% from the field, 50%, over 50% from the three. And it's like, I'm tired of Steph being able to get 40, 50 points and then up to 60 points and then we lose. It's really getting old. It's getting old. But see, 39 seconds, if we get the ball, Steph can bring us back. If he played like he played the other night, y'all saw what happened. So the game ain't over yet. So we're going to see what happens. I'm late to the party. What you puffing on? Oh, my bad, mixtape. This is the Don Carlos the Man. That's what we got. Can you see that as it come up? So I'm sorry I was a little bit behind. I'm trying to catch up with everybody. I'm trying to talk and, keep up with it going. Got a favorite. Your assessment can trump an Opus X for some. I think so. I think so. That's a great question. What would I score this? I'll give it a B minus. B minus. And I say that because it smoked really well. Like it's a lighter smoke texture. It's not really a full body smoke. It's a balance with the pepper on that. It's more like a white pepper. Let me get a little retro hell really quick. slightly floral, leather, a little bit of oak, a little bit of cedar. It's an armchair cigar. Um, the burn line is really good, even after dropping it and all that kind of stuff. It's smoking the way it's supposed to. It's not bad. It's just for me, man. It's very much like an old world cigar. It's an old world Dominican, and it's the type of cigar that can age really well. It's not giving you a whole lot as far as like different flavors and stuff like that, but it is very consistent. So it's not bad. It's just this is not for my palate. If you like that though, My Father, Opus X, if you like, sun grown cigars, that would kind of fit in your house. I was hoping for a little bit more like salt or maybe some caramel in it to kind of give it a little bit more sweetness, but it's not that kind of profile. You're not gonna get that. That floral helps it out a little bit though, but it's not like you're not gonna get the floral that you would get from a Rose of Sharon. So don't think it's in that line. It's silky. The smoke texture is the best way to describe the smoke texture. It's silky. So B minus. I'll give it a B minus. But that's kind of the fun of it. When if you were here from the beginning when I was talking about like the thrill of chasing the cigar that you've been wanting for so long and going out and actually figuring out what the cigar that you wanted for 3-4+ years, then you finally get to smoke it and you get to see what it's about, and you can get that resolve in there and say, yeah, this is cool. But I had the same thing when it came to the Lost City. I chased that cigar for a long time, and I've had it multiple times since. And I like the cigar, but I don't love the cigar. 1/5, man. It is what it is. All right, shouts out to the Clippers. Can't be mad. I know Steph got busy, but what can you do? That was a tough game. We needed that win, though. This is an important win. We back at 500, man. We needed that win. I will. All right, let me go back through and catch up on what y'all are saying right now. For those in Chicago, Norwood Park, Royal Cigars is the spot. Word up. I'll put that out there. Dope. Like Portnoy. I don't know who that is. You gotta explain that one to me. From Barstool Sports. For me, your description is it's the 9 Club. Yeah, I do think it's a must try. I do think it's a must try, especially like you can get into that Don Pepin Garcia, My Father line, Opus X. If you really like that, it's another like the Romeo y Julietas, that kind of thing, that leathery kind of profile. It's cool. $130 to $125 final. God, that's tough. That's a tough loss, man. I hate that we keep losing in crunch time, man. Especially when Steph going off, man. I'm not feeling that. You can see I'm a little bit agitated by that. Yeah, that's the LFD Andalusian Bull for me, and the Amazon Basin Extra Añejo. Tough to find. Hope they don't disappoint whenever I finally get my hands on them. Space, I really don't think you'll be disappointed, especially with the Bull and the Amazon. I just recently had the Amazon again the other day. I don't know if I smoked on which live I smoked that on, but it might have been with the Infamous crew. I think that's what it was. And I had that cigar again, and the guy that I was telling y'all about, Stavros, that came out here and gave me some cigars. He also gave me another Añejo, so that was kind of nice to have one. And I absolutely love that cigar, like genuinely love that cigar. And it's one of the most unique cigars that's out there. And I think I put that in my top 10 flavor bombs, if I remember correct. I think it's on that list. If not, it could easily be in that top 10. And the reason why is because when you have that cigar that you're tasting something that's special. It's really a special cigar. As far as the Andalusian Bull, for a cigar that's one note pretty much from the beginning to the end, the way the flavors work and they balance out in the Bull to be a larger ring gauge cigar that takes forever to smoke, it smokes wonderfully and it tastes really good. You get the caramel, in there, and you know it's just it's a really really prominent cigar. So I don't think you'll be disappointed with either one of those, honestly. And that's my humble opinion. But those are cigars that I could easily put in an all-time list, and I can easily put in a list of cigars where it's like when you know every time that you go back to the cigar is gonna live up to what it's supposed to live up to, or if you're gonna recommend that cigar to somebody, I highly doubt they'll just be like, nah. I the most that you would get was like it's not for me, in my opinion. I will say that this cigar is satisfying in a sense that I'm enjoying smoking it. I'm enjoying, especially getting down to the heart right now. That it's getting silkier and it's getting creamier as it's going along, and it's becoming like a light coffee. Not like, how do I describe that? You know how some people, you have like your natural coffee flavors where you got straight up coffee and you press it or whatever way that you're gonna do it where you get just rich roasted coffee flavors. And then you got, the coffee that you pour all of your cream into and all that kind of stuff to make it, creamier and smoother and all that kind of stuff to take a little bit of the bite. That's what this is. Once you take the bite out of it, it's a smooth coffee. I hope that makes sense. Nah, don't no no don't do the promos, man. I'm never mad at the promos. And Ty, what you saying as far as like they need Clay? Man, we need Clay bad, man. We need another shooter like Clay, and we need Clay to be consistent, and we need Wiggins to be consistent, and neither one of them are consistent right now. And I feel like Kaminga is kind of cracking under the pressure that he had to be the number two. I mean, he's what, 22 years old, 21 or 22. So he, once that pressure came that he could score 20 points a game, I think it's starting to get to him a little bit. He's starting to play a little bit out of control, and he wasn't playing like that at first. So I don't know. I'm not scared of this team though. I still think this team can kind of round out and still kind of come around a little bit. Sal said, I've heard that Warp Chinchale is a mini bull. That's a good description in a way to me. I don't really make that description, but I know a lot of people were saying that. I think Matt was really heavy on that too. And Michael, I think Mike from Master Ash was saying that too. But the Chinchale is more floral to me, and it actually gives a little bit more of a transition as far as the flavor profiles go. I love both of those though. And honestly, in my head, oftentimes I take certain cigars and I group them together and put them in the categories. I would put that Chinchale in a similar category as I would with the Andalusian Bull. So that's not too far fetched. That's not too far off. He said, if I smoke it down to near the roaches in the non-club, well, hey, we're about to see. Yeah, the Warriors are definitely more dangerous in the playoffs, man. They are, and one because of Steve Kerr. The way Steve Kerr can actually like run set plays, and he can match his defenses up to the way other teams play. And when you play more in the half court, they're a much more dangerous team. I totally agree with that. But the problem is right now we got to get to the playoffs. Sitting in the number 10 spot right now is not where we want to be. And we don't want to have to leave it up to chance playing in the play in. That scares me, bro. That scares me. I don't like that. We really need like a 6-7 game run right now, and we're not getting it. You saying this cigar was really well rolled? I agree. Because it's smoking beautifully, and I dropped it and put an inch crack into it, and it's still rolling, and it did not give any problems at all. So I totally agree with that, and it feels good to the hand too. Let's see. Sal said, I'm looking forward to trying the Chinchale. I got two in the humidor waiting. Hey man, don't wait too long. Smoke your best cigars. Who is this right here? We got Alejandro. What up, though? Said, what up, Keelan? That's a badass view. Glad the moving arrangement is sorted. It's a lot better, man. It's still a lot that needs to be done in here. But what's cool about that whole process, man, is that we're feeling like we're at home. You know what I mean? Like when you finally get into a spot and the layout of your house works and you don't have a lot of issues and stuff that you got to deal with and a lot of repairs. You know, the kids are enjoying their room. My wife and I are enjoying our space. The living room is set up. I can kick back and watch the games. I can watch some poker. I was playing Red Dead Redemption last night just to kind of, defrag and escape the world for a little bit. So it's been a beautiful thing, man. So appreciate the love on that. This is one thing that I hate when it's too much pectin up there. But I ain't really worried about it because, like you said, it's rolled really well. It's going to keep smoking. Yeah, I dropped it real good, too. Space City set. I like the Chinchale. Picked up a box of 25, a little over a bill. It's a good price. During Christmas discounts, that's a real good price. Definitely don't regret buying that box. Honestly, man, I don't go into the, what's box worthy and not box worthy as much as I used to. But I really, really, really feel like the Chinchale is box worthy. I got one more left. I'm down to just one Chinchale. But that's one of the cigars that is like, it's consistent enough that I never have to worry about it. And another thing is like I don't remember if I put this in the top 10 list when I did most unique cigars. Hopefully I did, but it can be mentioned in there. I love unique cigars. I love a cigar like this. I don't feel like it's unique at all. I feel like it's a very kind of run-of-the-mill classic type cigar, and that's a good thing. But I like those cigars that when you smoke it, you're like, oh, I haven't had anything that tastes like this before. Like, wow, this is something really different from anything else that's on the market right now. And I really feel like out of all, one thing about Warped in general to me, the El Oso and the Chinchale are probably the most unique out of that whole line of cigars. And it's good when you have a cigar that's like that stands out from the rest of everything that's out there. What Atlantic cigar? Not really sure. I've had and have some unique vintage cigars. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. But the thing about it, like, I kind of like the way that the cigar market is kind of pushing different profiles now. Because you can have brands like Illusione, Room 101, Crown Heads for a period, and Warped, where they were really trying to capture that Cuban-esque feel, and everything was kind of staying in that lane. And I like that you had the Nick Melillos, and you had the Steve Sakas, and now you can say that Crown Heads is kind of moving into that lane. Principal, Noah Rojas, where they're really trying to push the envelope with different tobaccos coming from Costa Rica, Zimbabwe, and using the broadleafs and the Sumatras and the San Andreas, and giving all these different angles where you get these more robust flavors, or you get these unique floral notes, or you get tea in your cigars, and you get like Manolo with Casa 1910. Like you get a lot of these cigars now that you can tell that they're really like, well, okay, we're gonna separate ourselves from what everybody else is doing. We're not gonna go strictly Dominican. We're not gonna go strictly Cuban-esque. And because there was a period where everybody was chasing a Cuban cigar. And this is only maybe 4 or 5 years ago, if that. And then then you had the My Father lines, and Don Pepin, where they were very much like very leathery and kind of rustic and old world style. I like that it's changing. it's kind of analogous, to what I was talking about with sports and with basketball. You don't want everybody to play and fight the same. I want different matchups. I want there to be a different team. I want one team to play inside out. I want another team to move the ball around. I want another team, to somebody to have a Philly shell, and I want somebody else to have a peekaboo style. And I want to see how these styles make fights. And it's the same thing with my cigars. Cause I don't know about y'all, but like I smoke based on my mood. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to go in my humidor and it's like, yo, I want something that gives me a coffee profile tonight. And then I might say like I want something that's a little bit sweeter now. I want a naturally sweet cigar. So I want to be able to go in my humidor and I want to be able to find that. I just had yesterday, I had the Armadillo Fuego. You know what I mean? And that was a really unique cigar. And you got some of the mineral earth in there, and you got the spices in there, and it had like some red pepper notes in it. And it, like, once again, it was a unique cigar, and that gave me something different. I like being able to, if I'm in the mood for Micarita, I can say, okay, I want a standard Micarita, or I can get a tricky Traca. I'm in the mood for something a little sweeter, but I still want that earthy baseline in there. So then I can go to the Saka Khan. I like that diversity. That is a beautiful thing, and I hope that the cigar industry continues to move like that. And people, it's like music, man. It's like music. It's like being able to something you don't want. Sorry, like I phased out a little bit there. I don't know how much you guys missed. I like that you shouting out Norwood, man. So now when I go to Chicago, I gotta go to Norwood, right? I ain't been to Chicago in like 6 years. How old is my son? Damn, it might be older than that now. That's shit. It might be closer to 8 years now. Yeah, definitely. The agricultural knowledge definitely comes in, and being able to, to find the different terroirs and, the different water cycles and irrigation and all that kind of stuff. I really wish I could intern and kind of like, learn the science behind growing and all that kind of stuff. It would probably never happen, but I would love to be able to kind of check that out and learn those insights, the ins and outs of it, and to really be able to see what type of soil they're using. And because just when you think about the Amazon alone, whatever is in that soil, that just in general, like the whole like Arcana line, from the Mortal Coil to the Amazon to the Firewalker, and all of that. Like you can really taste the soil in those cigars. It's phenomenal the fact that you can taste the fact that okay, you can tell where these cigars come from. Um, there was another cigar that I smoked recently that was from like a volcanic region, and like you can taste all of the minerals in that soil. That part is really cool to me. Indeed, it's a lot like wine. And honestly, man, I know I've said this on plenty of these lives before, but that's what got me into cigars in the first place. Being in the culinary field, one thing that I was really good at is profiles and changing dishes and being able to make a lot of different dishes from a lot of different regions and stuff like that. That was part of the fun of the game. Like knowing when to use cumin, knowing when to use coriander, knowing how to make a curry, and how to use all the different spices and blends like that. And so to make something feel and taste like it's coming from Mexico, or make something taste like it's French, or make something taste like it's Spanish, and to make Indian food, and to know which spices come from what region, and to okay, I'm going to an Asian style, so I know I need soy sauce and I need star anise, and and you're building like that. I didn't drink or smoke when I started culinary school, like no alcohol at all, like not even wine, not beer, nothing. I didn't have anything. And when I got into culinary school, I was like, I need to try these things. I need to try different wines in different regions, and I need to try cigars because I want to build my palate. And that's where that chase came from. So to circle back all the way around to the beginning, when I started this live, it was like that thrill of that chase, being able to find different flavor profiles and different flavor notes and things like that is the thing that kind of sparked the endorphins in my brain. That's the stuff that got me excited, and that's what made me fall in love with the whole cigar process. So yeah, man, the cats you mentioned are very creative in their blends, forcing these old cats to come up with something new versus just relying on the blends. But nothing wrong with the older blends, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But when you think about that space, like if you look at cigar aficionado, right, and you look at a lot of the cigars that fit into whatever their top 10 list and their top 25 or whatever they're doing, they don't vary a lot. It's not a lot of variation in as far as like the different flavor profiles that go into there, and you can kind of tell they're stuck in a time warp. Like when the old cats is walking down the street and they're still dressed like, tell like, okay, he grew up in the 90s, or this cat grew up in the 80s, and this cat 70s, and this cat, and you can tell that they get stuck in a certain time period. I kind of feel like that's what happened with Cigar Aficionado to a degree. And the cigars that they mention and they bring up aren't bad cigars. It's just I want more diversity than what you're offering. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way that I look at cigars in general. Like my humidor is all mixed up because I'm trying to get variety. I'm trying to play. I'm trying to be able to. If I pull up a record and or a cigar, I want to be able to like, okay, this is the mood you're in right now. I got something for your mood. I got something for your vibe. And the same goes for myself. Let's see. I think that's why you've captivated me. I'm a genuine super taster, man. I appreciate that as a compliment, man. And that's honestly one of the best compliments that I've ever gotten, just in general, be it right now or just when people were in the comment section back when I was actually reviewing cigars, because I took pride in it. You know what I mean? And I took pride into really being able to have realistic flavor profiles and try to make it so that anybody that's going out, if they're gonna watch my video or just kind of they can rely on my interpretations of these cigars. We all know that it's gonna be subjective. You're not gonna taste everything that I taste. For one, you might not have all the flavor experience that I've had, or I may not have the flavor experience that you have, so I may miss some of the notes. But if I can get the majority of what's in there and then be able to relate that back and convey it and articulate it in a way that it makes sense without feeling like it's going over somebody's head or sounding so superfluous or so over the top that you just like, what the hell are you talking about? And that happens with some of the cigar reviewers sometimes. But I want it to be reliable. And I kind of feel like I did my job in that sense. That the fact that I can get 16 people on a live in the middle of the week, you know, late at night, and you guys can come in here and chop it up with me, and we can really go back and forth and really talk about different cigars and talk our opinions and be philosophical and just really shoot the breeze. That's a cool thing, and that so all of this is worthwhile to me, just for the fact that like I trust your palates and I trust your opinions and I trust all of your feedback, and I feel like that integrity has kind of helped you guys to kind of really be able to vibe with me in the same course, man. It dude, like it was a nerve-wracking feeling. Um, just being the new kid on the block when I started. When I started doing these reviews, it was Cigars Daily, Prop, um, Ron Real, Lee Mack, Brian Glenn, and I can't remember the dude with the bald head and the goatee. I can't. Tim Rollins. I think that's what his name is, right? Tim. Is it Tim Rollins? Forgive me because I'm horrible with names, but I think that's what his name is. And what's the Insomniac kid? And then you had a couple other people like Cowboy. And it was a couple people. So when I came in, I was always like, you got somebody like Brian Glenn that was around for like a decade. You know, and you had the Mr. Lanceros, and you had Dr. Joe, and you had some cats that would, yeah, all those cats. So you had these cats that were around, and I was worried like, yo, I'm some kid rocking a bandana, you know, that nobody knows who I am. They don't know anything about my background, and I'm coming in here, you know, trying to talk and review cigars, and but I'm really trying to do this in a different way than everybody else is doing it. And you try to carve out your own niche, and you try to carve out and develop your own voice. That's why I was telling cats like Roger from Working Man Cigars and John Cigar Alchemist. When I'm telling them cats, I'm just like Felipe. I'm like, yo, find your voice. Find become who you are, and like really try to like figure out what you really get out of cigars, what you really love about the hobby, and just be true to yourself. Don't try to, because you got cats right now. I'm not gonna say any names, but it's some cats that are well known right now that you can see that they're really mimicking other people, and like they're trying to be Brian Glenn. They have their cadence and they have their, they talk like them, or they might talk like Rob from, Should I Smoke This? And they sound just like them. And I'm just like, I want people to be able to trust my palate, and I want people to trust my opinions, whether you agree with me or not. And I wanted to, when I came in, that people would really be able to say like, yo, whatever they think about the way I did my shows, or the way that I look, or the way that I sound, I really wanted them to be like, yo, ain't nobody like EKB. And regardless of when I pick up and I smoke this cigar, it might not taste exactly like he described, but at least it's close to it. And to have that kind of consistency, it was a scary thing to do, man. It was really, really, really a scary thing to do, to come out there and to put yourself out there on the line for hundreds and thousands of people to see you. And you're recorded. All of your opinions are going to be there for everybody to pick apart. And to analyze and break down everything that you do within your content. And especially now that we're doing shorts and all that kind of stuff like that, you get a lot of random people, and people say some cold shit to you sometimes, man. People can be really like, because you got the anonymity of being in the internet, you know what I'm saying? You can say whatever you want. And if you guys were in our group chat, and if you could see the stuff that happens in the comments, man, and the shit that people say to us, and be like, oh man, everything you saying was a lie, and where you getting that flavor profile from, you just making up shit off the top of your head, and like you get a whole lot of that kind of shit, man. And so you got to really have conviction in your own palate, and in your and the truth in what you're saying. And then the other side to it is like, when you find out, when you get a message from Boofy, and he's like, hey man, I watch your show. Word? Holy shit. And then Steve Saka commenting on like, hey man, I agree with your opinion on this. I know you didn't like this cigar, but hey, this is why I did it. That kind of shit. It's nerve wracking. It's still, hey man, we what are you saying? We're on the back nine right now. No, it's still top notch, bro. And to add to that, bro, I've been talking a lot with Cigar Hound Dog about like the heart of the cigar, and the final third is when you really get the most changes in the cigar. This is really starting to get creamier and starting to mellow out. And I like when the cigar goes up at the end of the cigar. I like when when you get down to the back end of it, and the flavors get deeper and heavier and richer. Sometimes they go flat. This one has not gone flat. So that is a major plus. Let me catch up with what you guys are saying in here. I have like 100 cigar reviews with like 200 subs. I have sold cigars, worked in the humidor. I agree with EKB. I have no problem with my content. And that's what matters, man. You got to really believe in what you're doing. And it's really hard to really like get new subs and to get your channel out to people and to really get people to latch on to you. It's not an easy thing to do. And even at my channel, I basically have stalled out at 3,000 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? I know I don't do reviews anymore, but it's really hard to constantly put out content and to constantly, do something that's different from what other people are doing. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of creativity and a lot of push and a lot of fumbles and a lot of, failures, and like it's a lot. I mean, you're editing, trying to find the newest cigars, and trying to come up with your thumbnails and all that type of stuff. It was a chore, honestly, man. I gotta re-like. Shouts out to everybody that hit the like button, man. Thank y'all, man. Thanks for all the comments and just chilling with me while I kick back and smoke. I'm still kind of bummed that my team lost, man. I'm not even one of those cats, man, but I'm feeling some type of way that we lost this game, especially when we were up by 10 at one point in time. God damn it. At least I got a good cigar. Got some good company. Sal said your honesty and authentic nature translate extremely genuine every time. Thank you, bro. And the fun part, man, was really being able to relate to y'all and have y'all relate to me and really be able to find a core viewership. You know what I'm saying? And the people that can really feel like the fact that people, hit me up in the DMs and they hit me up privately and, to have conversations and I was able to make friends that I talk to on a regular basis. That's why I was kind of going into that whole story about meeting Stavros all the way out here in Japan. And to really sit down and to really click with somebody, man. Like I really liked him and I really liked him. I like his wife. They were just good people. That made this whole process worth it. That made the whole push to, have a channel and to take the time and do all the editing and all the stuff that I did. It made it all worthwhile, man. So thank you for saying that, man. That means a lot. In most ways, man, I think we all are more similar. And that's kind of the cool thing about the whole brother of the leaf thing and sister of the leaf. And developing an online community and having a cigar community in general. I think that's kind of cool that we all can kind of relate to just having a day job, and we can all relate to just at the end of your day or sometime in the middle of your day, or you're driving trucks or whatever you're doing. We can talk music, we can talk sports, we can talk wine, we can talk food, and we can just sit back and light a cigar, crack open a soda or a beer or whatever the case may be. I'm kind of pissed because I left my soda downstairs. But we can just kind of kick back and just kind of enjoy the vibe of just sitting back and smoking the cigar. My wife was not really into me getting into cigars at all. I know she wasn't really feeling the whole process, especially with me being so straight-laced when I came up, that I didn't smoke and I didn't drink or do anything like that. I didn't really have much of a vice in that regard. But I think she understands those days when I could just come out here, man, and I could just look at this mountain out here, or when I was on the rooftop and I could just sit back and just chill. And at the end of the day, I disappear for a while and I just kick back with a cigar. And usually my mood is right when I do that. I put on whatever music, when I'm in a music vibe, or I just put on my podcast, or I just sit back, or I can just come up here and chat and chop it up with y'all, man. It really, like, I think we all can relate to that. I think we all can kind of feel like it's nothing better than just taking a moment and just blowing smoke for an hour. And it gives me something to chase. I'm constantly chasing a dragon. I'm constantly chasing like what is gonna be my new favorite cigar. What is gonna be my favorite cigar of the year. And that's the part where like even when I stopped doing reviews, I didn't want to stop doing that end of the year list, man, because that was part of the fun of being able to just kind of sit back and take the notes and then compare cigars with you guys, like we were talking about the Chinchale and talking about the Andalusian Bull, and we can all kind of find the common ground. We all kind of we find the different. Sorry, like I was getting a call up here distracting me. We can all find that different thing. Like you guys can introduce me to cigars that I never had, and the fun part of actually, Roger, what up, though? What up, homie? The fun. I was just talking about you, bro. The fun of being able to learn about a new cigar, and when I was doing the channel, like when I was doing the buyers guides and doing the top 10 list, that was the best part. Was being able to like I found something that's really cool. Let's see what you think about it. Or to be able to say like I got this opinion about whatever cigar, and I can tell you guys all about whatever this opinion is. I know, right? It's good to see you, homeboy. Speaking of, while you know, I'm giving a little bit of propers right now, man. If you guys have not checked out Cigars Unbanded, uh, Felipe, Roger, and Peter are all doing Cigars Unbanded, man. It's a really dope podcast that they're doing on the channel right now. They go live. Um, they got a really good show right now, and it's really fun. And we're talking about like being able to go out and find these different cigars and these different things that are out there and chasing that dragon. Doing the Unbanded when they're all just smoking a cigar and only one person out of the group knows what the cigar is, and they can talk about the flavor notes, flavor profiles, and you can kind of work in and kind of figure out what kind of cigar is what. That's a fun show, man. That's and Roger, I'm not saying that to gas you, bro. That y'all got something really good with that, man. And it's good to have something that's new within this reviewer atmosphere that different viewers can latch on to. I had a fun time, like, and I feel like I got a pretty good palate. I couldn't guess, which cigar is which. I wonder if I would be better if I was smoking with y'all, but that's kind of fun to do. Just like they're breaking down the cigar, they're breaking down, what flavors they're getting and what they're matching with and what they're relating to and what they're getting different. It's really fun, man. And for a cigar nerd like myself, it's dope. But then you're always gonna have somebody that, like, I don't know how much y'all into poker, right? But I was making this comparison with Roger, and I was talking about how Matt from Cigar Hound Dog is like Phil Ivey. Like no matter what you throw at him, like the dude can read behind your cards, and he can tell what you're smoking just from you give him a hint of what it could be, and he's gonna nail it. That shit is fucking crazy. I was ribbing him the other day. I was like, dude, you're Phil Ivey, man. It's like you can't get nothing past that dude. That's why his channel is blowing up the way that it has. But when y'all get a chance, man, check out Cigars Unbanded. Go ahead and subscribe to those homies right now. Show them some love. And thank y'all for hitting that like button, too, for the kid, man. I appreciate you. What we got going on here? All right. So no new comments right now. All in all, this is in the 9 club, bro. You caught it. I still will give this cigar all in all. I'm still giving it a B minus. And I will say, like, the leather component has grown more now that it's got to the end. And the pepper is like a really smooth pepper on it. Let me kind of readjust this while I'm getting comfortable here. I don't want my audio to go crazy. But it really is more of an Opus X than it is a Don Carlos to me. It doesn't fit with like the your standard Don Carlos or your Reserva, anything like that. It smokes way more like a Fuente Fuente. All right, so we've been rolling for an hour and 20 minutes. Do you guys want me to light up this Aladino? I haven't had this cigar yet. I got an Aladino Classic. I bought this maybe it's a 5x44. I bought this maybe like 7, 8 months ago. Might be close to a year. And I hadn't smoked it yet. I got it because I love the Aladino Cameroon. That is a surprisingly good cigar. It got a sweet apple profile, and it's a very unique taste. And Aladino is usually pretty damn consistent. It's usually one of those. It's a brand that you can pretty much rely on. So I've been kind of curious to see what this is about. Stay right here with me. Do y'all let me know? Should I light it up or what? How was the Carolina Blue? I will honestly, I'll be honest here. I would give it a C. That's how I will grade that cigar. It smoked really well. The construction was consistent, but I felt like the flavor profile was kind of lacking to me a little bit. I got love for what Chris is doing with Carolina Blue cigars, and I got love for Jamon with Definition Cigars, and I definitely want to support those brothers. I want to get their name out there. Just I wasn't feeling the Connecticut at all. I liked the Carolina Blue, the Blue Light Special that I had, and I liked the Habano a lot more than I liked the rest of them. But it's still a journey for me. I'm still smoking those cigars and trying to get a feel for it. But just the fact that you asked about it now, like it's a good thing that it's on the radar now. That people can go out there and actually look for his cigars to see what's happening. If you know, you know. What up? Hey man, thanks for joining in. Look, see, I always know that you're gonna tell me to light up another one, man. All right. If I known you were in here, I would have known what the answer was gonna be. You always gonna say spark up another one. You're consistent, my brother. You're consistent. Let's see. Oh man, you said you're gonna light up that Ferio Tego tonight. Which one do you got? Which Ferio Tego do you have, man? You said craving a notebook paper flavor. Yo, man, look, I'm gonna tell you, bruh. I know I'm harsh when it comes to the Ferio Tegos. I'm really harsh. I know I'm being harsh. But it really does taste like a notebook paper, man. It really does taste like a paper bag. And I was not. I will say that Generoso was slightly more flavorful than the Elegancia. But I'm not doing that again. I'm not going down that route. If you have one, I genuinely recommend you trying it for yourself to see what you really thought about it. But man, that cigar wasn't it, man. I'm just not feeling that timeless line. I'm not feeling. I'm not. I just like good vibes and great conversations. Your lives are always a really good vibe, man. I appreciate that, man. I really wanted Smoke Your Best Cigars as a show, and I really wanted the lives to really be the place where y'all can come back and just kick back. I really got to take time to like. I'm gonna be honest with y'all right now, man. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was talking about like the amount of effort that it took to get the Vintage Cigar as a channel rolling and to make it work and to really develop my own voice and my own style and the years that I literally spent on this channel, like finding a viewership and finding a base of people that that I enjoy talking to and putting out content for and really getting people to comment and subscribe and to do all that kind of stuff that goes into being a cigar reviewer and a YouTuber and all that kind of stuff and an influencer. I'm really nervous right now about starting the Vintage Cigar podcast, and I'm really nervous about starting 80s Remote. I'm gun shy for whatever reason. I'm gun shy. I'm sitting downstairs in my office, and I've been writing notes, and I've been pacing in my room and thinking and trying to create and trying to organize the show. And for whatever reason, I'm scared to pull the trigger. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I know I only got like a few more steps that need to be taken in order to get the ball rolling and to get things moving. But for whatever reason, I'm nervous, man. And I don't know what it is. I just, for whatever reason, I'm scared to set up the profiles and just to hit, the go button. And I'm being as honest and vulnerable as I can right now to you guys to say that. Like, those channels should be up and rolling right now. The podcast should be on different platforms. I should be on whatever platforms that are necessary right now. And I should be going on YouTube right now doing 80s Remote. I should be doing it. And for whatever reason, I'm gun shy. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what is really holding me back right now. But it's something that has me in a place where it's just like, I can't pull the trigger. I can't just, like, my microphone downstairs is not even set up. It's sitting right by my desk, and it's right there for me to pick up, plug in, and just say, dude, it's go time. But for whatever reason, I can't pull that motherfucking trigger. I don't know what the problem is, folks. I don't know what's doing it. And I think right now, shout out to my man Innocent from the Big Guilty podcast. He finally got to his place where he was like, yo, it's time for me to pick up the microphone. He has a good show. Cigars Unbanded have a really good show right now. And I need to be in that space. I feel like we need a good podcast right now. And I'm glad we got two that's really rolling. And I feel like, I got some stuff that needs to be said. And I feel like that's a better medium than actually just me doing reviews over and over again. I feel like there's a way right now that I could do these shows and put out some good content. But I can't pull the trigger. I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Hold up. Let me put this out, and then I might light up this other cigar. Give me a sec, y'all. Yeah. Okay. All right. I was trying to see if my kids are back. So, how do y'all feel about Aladino? How do you feel about CLE and Aroa cigars? What are y'all opinions on those brands? Do y'all smoke those at all? I just dropped my motherfucking lighter. Where the hell did it go? I can't find it. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to use matches. Let me see what y'all got in here. Hey, man, look. With that last live, man, I really had to see if I was tripping or not, man. You got to give it to me, man. I gave Michael Herklotz a fair shot, man. I really think that I really tried his cigars multiple times, and I really tried to see if I was just tripping or if I was really just kind of being hardcore. I really don't like them, man. It's just it is what it is, and I got to be honest, you know, and that's what it was. I think Aladino is underrated too, man. I think they're underrated, and it's kind of good to be underrated sometimes. So if you know, you kind of rocking with it. You kind of in with that brand, and it won't get oversaturated, and it kind of keeps the brand hungry at the same time. And I think consistently they put out good cigars. God damn. There you. Y'all gonna laugh at me for having trouble lighting my cigars. These might be a bit damp though. It's wet out here. There you go. Hold up, man. Fuck that matte shit. There we go. What else we got going? Yeah, y'all continue to give Roger and Cigars Unbanded some love, man. That's good cigar content right there, and it's good people, man. It's kind of cool when you. It's kind of cool when you meet people in the cigar atmosphere, and they really are who they present they are on the camera, and they're the same way behind the scenes. And it's really good when it's just like it's just good people and it's good vibes, and that shit really makes it worth it. And you're talking to people that really care about what the cigars that they're smoking, and how they review cigars, and just how they view you know their approach to reviewing cigars. It's a healthy place, man. And it's been a lot of infighting and a lot of people just being really negative. People jockeying for a position and fighting to get notoriety and trying to see who's the best and all that kind of stuff like that. And then you got the other people that's just like they're not in it for that. They just in it because they enjoy cigars and they enjoy talking about cigars, and they enjoy being informative and just being down to earth, and they enjoy chasing that dragon and getting the experience of cigars. To me, like that's Roger. Like from the moment I saw like Roger's videos, I was like, okay, I rock with this dude. Same thing with Peter when I'm looking at Peter's reviews on Instagram, and I'm just like, yo, this dude knows what he's talking about. He really knows how to go out there and get some of the best cigars that's on the market and gives his honest opinion. He don't give a damn like what what brand is watching or not watching. He's just really being honest. That's the shit that I go for. That's the thing that kind of keeps me intrigued. I like the vaginal note on this one. It does have a very classic profile to it. Said Peter's old. Yo, if Peter's old, then I'm ancient. So, so I can't. Y'all, man, they crack me up when they talk about Peter being old, man. Peter old because Peter got kids, man. Kids will make you old. Kids will make you smoke a lot of cigars too. That's why that motherfucker always buying cigars. Well, it's kind of cool, man. I was at the gym today, man, and I told some of the ladies that work in there uh, how old I was, man. And everybody always gets shocked when they find out like I'm old as shit. But it's a cool thing though to I don't know, man. I kind of feel like I kind of like this kind of older statesman thing that I'm kind of growing into now. I don't mind being the old head. I'm appreciating the grays. I'm appreciating being the old cat. And I'm kind of the old head in the cigar review thing too, because I'm thinking about it. Even when I'm on with the with the infamous crew, man, I'm the old head out of that bunch, you know. But at the same time, I was clowning the other cat for being old and out of touch. And I think that's a different thing, man. You're supposed to be able to mature and get older, and you want to be able to grow old and be experienced in whatever you're doing. But you don't ever want to be that old head that just like is completely out of touch. That's the part. That's when it's a problem. That's when you got an issue. And I don't feel like I'm there yet. I don't feel like I'm that old guy. 37 ain't old, man. Shit. Do I even remember being 37? I don't even think I remember being 37, man. What was I doing at that time? It's wet down here. My shoes are sliding. I think I was in Fresno, California at that time. 45, baby. Oh, you got me by a couple years. All right, that's what's up. Space got me by a couple years. That's all right, man. They were talking on Cigars on Bandit, though, and I think it was Peter that was talking about like all the stuff that old people eat, and he was talking like all the different cereals and yogurt and shit like that, and everything that he named. I'm like, yo, that's what I'm eating right now, dude. I guess I really am old, but I gotta keep this body in shape, man. That's the one thing I hate about where I am right now. Like I am at that point where you get up and everything and stuff don't move right and you gotta stretch. I was playing basketball with my daughter the other day, and they had the rim down to about probably like 9 feet, maybe like 8.5, and I couldn't dunk. And I was like, and my daughter's looking at me like, Dad, why can't you dunk? And I'm like, I'm old. That's why. Like I can't jump like I used to. Like yo, when I was in high school, I was barely like 5'7", 5'8", and I could vertical. I could just jump and hang on the rim, and I was so close to dunking. Like I could almost dunk. And damn, man, I could barely touch the nets now. Like it's like your body don't move the same anymore, man. So I'm in the gym every day. I was boxing today. I'm jumping rope. I'm running wind sprints and shit like that, and I'm trying to like train my body to still be able to be mobile. And I'm shooting jumpers every day. I go like every morning. I go to the gym and I do whatever my like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I do my weight workout, whether it's legs or whether I'm doing chest and back or I'm doing arms or whatever. And I try to get a total body workout, and then every day after I do that, I go to the gym and I go shoot for a minute, just so I can like work on my dribble and just kind of get some shots up and work on my form. And I might run some suicides, or and I might run some laps around the gym and like dribble between the legs and just kind of just keep the body warm and keep moving. But yo, I tried to dunk the other day and that shit was so ugly. And like I was gonna go on Facebook and talk about this shit. I tried to do a Euro step. Y'all know like when you see like Giannis or something when they going into I can't Euro step, yo. I travel every freaking time that I try to do that shit. And I'm just like, maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I'm a 90s basketball player. Maybe I'm just supposed to just like shoot jumpers and just post up and do like floaters and a turnaround jumper or some shit like that. I it was so bad, man. It was bad. And I was the old dude out there trying to hoop. And when I'm playing, like I was playing ball with some young cats the other day. They was in their 20s. And I'm talking shit. I talk shit when I play ball, man. I talk cash shit. And I'm not even the best hooper, but like I do enough that I can kind of get around. And like the way that I play, like I'm doing pocket passes and I'm playing like Magic Johnson. I'm throwing the ball over the head and bouncing the ball between the legs and shit. Pocket passes, and I'm just talking cash shit. But I was so tired at the end of that game, folk. When I tell you I was exhausted. This is pretty good. And these young motherfuckers is like, yo, Play another round, play another round. I'm like, no, motherfucker, I'm going to get some Gatorade and I'm going to sit my old ass down. I got one game in me. After that, nah, it don't move like it used to, bro. Ask myself. Anyway, oh, you saying you training jujitsu? That's what's up. I need to get back into martial arts, man. I don't know if I ever told y'all, man. I used to train in Jeet Kune Do, man, and I need to roll around and do a little bit of jujitsu too, and I need to get my flexibility back. I want to do yoga too, man, and because that's honestly that's where I'm lacking the most. My flexibility is gone. My flexibility, like one thing about me, like being a small cat, I grew up in the hood, right? And I never had to worry about fighting and all that kind of stuff before cats started, pulling out the blickies and all that. Because motherfuckers knew about my martial arts acumen. And there was a cat named Brandon, and he and I used to spar every day. He was Shotokan. I think that was his style in karate. He did Shotokan, and I was Jeet Kune Do, and we used to compare styles back and forth with martial arts, and we used to spar and train, during PE, whenever we had like the free day or whatever, and we would just sit back and spar and train and go back and forth when I wasn't hooping, and cats knew that I could handle myself. They knew my hands was pretty nice, and I could kick my ass off. Like I could kick over anybody's head. So I never had to worry like nobody would pick on me and nobody would try to fight with me because back in the 90s, motherfuckers thought like if you knew martial arts, then you was like Bruce Lee for real. Motherfuckers are scared. And it's just, it's fighting. You still got to be able to hold your own in a street fight regardless. And not all martial arts translate over to street fighting. Not all of them do that. I think Jeet Kune Do works with street fighting if you know what you're doing. And jiu-jitsu is good, wrestling is good, MMA, like, being able to mix the martial arts and being able to, really know how to defend yourself and know, sweet spots and, know techniques to how to get in fighting. Muay Thai is really good and all that, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm saying that in the sense that, like, I never really had to worry about, people attacking me just because they feared just the fact that, like, one wrong move and I could take them out. And I was strong. Like being a butcher helped me to be strong for my small stature too. So that helped out. But not having the flexibility that I used to have, like being able to kick above my head right now takes work. And like losing, the flexibility in my hips and all that kind of stuff, like it changed a lot. Sal, thanks for joining in, homeboy. Always appreciate seeing you, homeboy. Hey man, that's what we're here for, man. We're gonna keep smoking good, keep smoking your best. And speaking of, I ain't even ask y'all, man, what y'all smoke tonight? Am I the only one that's lighting up? Y'all getting me to smoke 2 cigars in one sitting. What y'all smoking on, man? I ain't even ask y'all. That's very rude of me to do that. Roger, I know you smoking something good, man. What you got on deck for tonight? I thought about today, man, that I need to get my nephew and my son some boxing gloves, man. I'm gonna take my son on the heavy bag today. When I was hitting the heavy bag, I was thinking I need to get to, because my son is ADD like a motherfucker, like genuinely ADD, like bouncing off the walls ADD. And I need to get him, instead of just playing Zelda all day and playing, Roblox and shit, I need to get him on the heavy bag and I need to show him how to punch and I need to show him how to kick and to really like train himself. Because that's one thing that you need, man, especially like we in the hood and we don't really have to worry about it now. I don't think he's ever gonna have to worry about bullies and stuff like that. But I still want him to be able to take care of himself. You know what I'm saying? You just never know when that moment is gonna come up and somebody gonna try to test you, right? And I think we all been there. I think we all been to the point where there's been somebody that's tried to like size you up, especially if you're small. My son, like he's heavier than I was at his age, but he don't have that kind of acumen that I had. Like I watched Bruce Lee all day. Like I literally, that's all I did was watch Bruce Lee, practice with my nunchucks, practice with my bow staff, doing push-ups, sit-ups, kicking, and I would do 1,000 punches and 1,000 kicks, and I would count and train, and he don't do that shit at all. That motherfucker will sit there and play his Nintendo Switch for hours on end. So I need to get him on the heavy bag, man. I need to teach him how to move his head and how to bring power from his hips and all that kind of stuff. Which Ezra Zion you got, Dolce? Somebody sent me some Ezra Zions last year at the end of the year, and I haven't smoked them yet. Me and DJ from Pick Jimmy was having a debate on whether Provada cigars and Ezra Zion were they the same thing. You know, we were talking about the whole concept of, you got these, these companies that are like all about the bands, and they're coming up with these cool, comic book bands and pictures and all this kind of stuff like that. But to me, I really feel like Brian from Provada will, let's just say, like his sushi lineup, right? When he was doing that sushi box, and he had Tamago Yaki, and he had some other sushi names and all this other kind of stuff, and none of the cigars gave you anything that reminded you of sushi. It was just the band, and he did it just because it looked good and it sounded cool, and I took some umbrage with that, and I talked to Brian about that when he came on the infamous podcast with us when we were still the New Wave, and he came on, and I talked to him personally about it. I was just like, yo, why are you doing this? Using these Japanese letters, and you're referencing Japanese foods and flavors, but you just put it on any cigar. I could literally take the band off of this cigar and put his sushi band on it, and it would be the same thing because it didn't matter with the flavor profiles. I feel personally that when it comes to like Ezra Zion, when they're doing something that's like cookies and cream or whatever, it at least kind of gives you the idea that this is going to be a sweeter cigar, and it's probably going to give you some bready notes, and it's going to be something. And I feel like that's what separates the two brands to me, because they're very much ostentatious and very like bold with their branding and all this kind of stuff. But I hate getting the cigar and you telling me like, oh, okay, if you're going to call it wasabi and it doesn't give you a vegetal note and it gives you spice, and if it doesn't remind you of wasabi, then why are you calling it wasabi? What's the point? If you're gonna like, oh, this is tamago yaki, okay, so if you're giving me something that's tamago yaki, then give me some like sweet notes in there, and then have it a cigar that has a savory profile, and it's gonna remind me of soy sauce, and it's gonna give me some saltiness. Give me something in there that can make me say, okay, I see why you call this sushi. But if it's just gonna taste like leather and wood, nothing about that describes tamago yaki. There's no savory component. There's no buttery component. There's no saltiness in there. There's no sweetness. What are you doing? That really bothered me, and I don't know if that really gets under other people's skin, but when we were talking earlier, when we were talking about flavor profiles, when I go to smoke a cigar, I'm genuinely looking to see if this cigar is what you're selling me, or are you giving me something? Are you giving me some unique flavors? Is it gonna taste like if I get butter and if I get popcorn, then name that motherfucker Orville Redenbacher. So when I go to whatever, if it's Neptune, if I go to Fox Cigars, or if I go to a brick and mortar spot and I see popcorn on your band, I know what I'm getting. If you're gonna market it to me and you're gonna advertise it to me, then give me what I'm looking for. Right? You feel me? That's what I'm looking for. Like if you're gonna sell me something, sell me what I'm expecting. And I gotta admit, I was disappointed with Steve Saka and the Wagashi. I'm expecting some like softer notes. I'm expecting some some elements of sweetness. Maybe I'm gonna get some like cherry notes or something like that to remind me of like maybe green tea or something So it tastes like matcha. I'm expecting it to taste like wagashi. It tastes nothing like wagashi, and that kind of threw me off a little bit, man. If you know, you know, said lit up a Don Carlos and I'm drinking Johnny Walker Black mixed with sweet tea. Sound like you having a good night, brother. That sound damn good to me. Alejandro said, when a clever band implies that cigar notes and it's nothing like it boils my piss. Me too, bro. Like it really gets under my skin, man. That's like going to a car dealership and somebody's like, yo, this car is cherry red and it has a spoiler on the back and it has these, you know, Pirelli tires on it, and it's one of the fastest cars that's on the market. It's a sports car, and then when I get in the car, and it drives like a just a normal old sedan, I'm gonna be pissed. Like, yo, don't sell me something on the outside, and then this motherfucker got like, you know, no horsepower to it, and it's like, you know, takes fucking, you know, 10 seconds to get up to 60 miles per hour. I'm gonna be hot. Like that just defeats the purpose of you trying to show me something and then it tastes completely different and it drives completely different. Or if you watch a trailer for a movie and this is gonna be action packed and it's gonna be, you know, bombs exploding, and then I get to the movie and none of that is happening in the movie. You know what I'm saying? When it's like, and this is a love story. Like, why did you sell me an action movie when it's actually a love story? What's the point? It just kind of defeats the whole purpose. So right now I have the Aladino Classic. I got the cigar just because I was saying earlier that I was really into CLE, Aroa, and the Aladino brands, and I got the Aladino Cameroon, and I really dig that cigar. It was like a surprisingly good cigar. It gave you the naturally sweet Cameroon flavor profiles, but then it also had this, you know, very unique apple flavor in it. And this is not that. This is exactly what it's billed to be. This is a very wood, nuts, kind of leathery, very classic style cigar. It's very similar to what I just had before when I had the Don Carlos the Man. It's less peppery and it's more on the cedar side than it was with, because like that Don Carlos the Man had like cedar and oak in it, and this is more just cedar, but it's a very classic style. So like that's just pretty much what it's been today. Very classic profiles today. But it's more, it's not as creamy as the Man though. The Man, when I was smoking that, was a very creamy cigar, especially when I got down towards the end. It's not a lot of creamy notes on this one. This is very, it's very rustic. It's very wood forward. A lot of more savory, smoky notes. It's a little bit of white pepper on the retro hell, but it's nothing too crazy. Nothing really stand out. I don't know, man. Like I sit back sometimes, and there was a period where I wanted to blend cigars, and I kind of wanted to get in there. I actually, like I said this before, I sent a message out to John Huber. It was like, yo, man, I will intern with you, and it's like, you know, what do I have to do to be able to work with Crown Heads and to be able to you know to work with you. I know I'm just a reviewer type thing, and I was like, I just want to, you know, be able to work with you to kind of learn the industry and the business. He never replied to me. I kind of hate that he left me on read with that, but it is what it is, man. I know, like, you don't know what, you know, people have, you know, labor wise and cost wise, but I would have worked for free. I just wanted to learn the business. But I'm saying that to say that, like, I got these ideas and these mock-ups that if I ever release a brand, I knew what I wanted the bands to be. I already had like some designs printed out for like how I wanted the bands to work out, and the type of flavors that I wanted in the cigar. Like I got notes and notes on like, okay, I want a cigar to taste like this, and I want another cigar to taste like this, and I wanted to know what like I wanted somebody to be able to show me the ropes on blending to say, okay, if I got this kind of Seco and I got, Viso Jalapa, or I got Sumatra and I got this kind of, and I could, develop these flavor profiles. And I wanted to be able to, to sit in the blending room and work with a master blender to be able to develop that. But there was a level of integrity that I had like with doing that I didn't want to put out a cigar like with these band concepts that I have. I didn't want to have the cigars not match that idea. So if it ever got to a point that I was able to release a cigar, I didn't want it to taste like breadsticks or just a paper bag. I actually wanted to have a flavor profile, and I wanted to still have that like it. So if it ever got to a point where EKB was able to put his name on a cigar, that you guys would know it came from me. And then when you smoke the cigar, you'll be able to say like, okay, this is exactly what I had in mind. And then, you guys would know exactly what I was trying to develop and what I was actually trying to bring to the table. And, it all may be just wishful thinking. It all may be a pipe dream. And that's fair. And I don't mind. But the creative side to that is being able to put those ideas on paper, and they may come to fruition. But if it ever came to life, I wanted it to actually be something and not just kind of be like just slapping the band on something and like, yo, I got, I put a Thundercat on this thing and called it the Lion-O or whatever, or, Thundera or whatever, and I didn't want it to just be for the sake of just having a colorful band. And that's what I look for when I'm actually looking at a cigar and say, okay, this is a cigar that I want to try. And it also kind of makes me respect somebody like Nick Perdomo, because all of his cigars pretty much look the same. As far as he doesn't change his band up too much. He doesn't really change the style of the way his cigars look. But you can go from a 10th anniversary, champagne to a 10th anniversary Maduro to a sun-grown within his line, and they taste completely different. And that's why I was giving Sanj props as well too. Especially with the industry killers, they're completely unbanded. But if I pick up a Habano, it tastes completely different from the Cameroon, and the Cameroon can taste completely different from the Connecticut. I know he's doing something right with his blends. And I know when he's in his blending process and when he's making the cigars, that there's an integrity behind what he's producing and what he's creating, because it's going to taste like what he's aiming for. So you can separate a Cameroon from a Sumatra, or you can separate a Sumatra from a broadleaf, and you can taste the difference in a Florida sun-grown from a regular sun-grown. That matters to me. And when you have these guys that are just putting whatever random band on a cigar and then calling it whatever, they can just make up whatever name, and it doesn't have any integrity to it. That's why I got so like in my feelings. That's why I got so in my feelings about the Ferriotego line, because when you're a blender and you're an owner of a company, and I'm watching your YouTube short, or I'm watching your Instagram short, and you're telling me all about your cigar, and it's like, this is the most elegant experience, and this is the most sophisticated cigar, and this miles ahead of every other cigar that's out there, and it's so much better than the market, and these YouTube reviewers don't know what they're talking about, and they're not experienced enough, or whatever. But and you give me this extravagant band, and you give me this lore behind, how, sophisticated you are. Hold on for a sec.
So you think it's a weekend? Do I just like read and do my own?
Yeah, do your room, do the dishes like you're supposed to,
Okay.
sweep the floor,
Okay.
and then do what you're supposed to clean those. Sorry about that, man. Had to be a father for a second. But what I was saying in that is like, if you're gonna talk if you're gonna talk the talk, and you're gonna make your cigar look the way that it's supposed to look, and you're doing all that kind of stuff, your cigar should live up to everything that you're talking about in your videos. When I read a review about your cigar, or or you're doing a editorial on the cigar, whatever you're talking about, it should, or column rather, it should live up to everything that you're telling me. And I don't feel like that brand does it. And I got love for Brian. I'm not trying to kick Brian, but I just feel like, when he's, and I'm watching a lot of his stuff on Provider Cigars, and he's like, hey, I got a new release, and hey, when you guys see this, it's gonna be the best thing that I ever released, and it's gonna blow the whole cigar community away, and it's gonna be, and I'm like, dog, you giving me a lot of flash, and you giving me a lot of bang, and you giving me a lot of colors and all this kind of stuff, but what does your cigar taste like? Does it match everything that you're trying to sell me? And for the most part, it doesn't. So I don't know, and I have strong opinions about that, man. Let me see what my man Space said. He said, I fired up a Davidoff Dominicana earlier. I enjoyed that sucker way more than the Don Carlos. Really? More complex flavors to me. I don't get that from Davidoff too fast. That the Dominicana to me, I can kind of see why you said that, but, and I'm not taking anything away from your opinion, because that's, you're supposed to get that experience when you smoke a cigar. That's what it's supposed to be. I can't say that I agree with that one, but I understand where you're coming from. Somebody just sent me a real old Davidoff #2, and I can't wait to smoke that one because people have been telling me so much about that cigar and how great it is. So I'm ready to kind of light that one up and kind of see for myself. But Davidoff to me is usually just too mild, and I don't get a lot of flavor out of those. And I know I've had a Dominicana. It hasn't been recently though, but I know I've had a Dominicana. But usually for me, when it comes to Davidoff, like I gotta have like a late hour. I gotta have a Yamasa. I gotta have like the Nicaragua, especially the box press, in order to get the flavors that I'm looking for out of a Davidoff. Usually when it's a white label Davidoff for me, I'm like, I don't know, because I'm usually not gonna get too much out of that. But you're gonna have me go back and try that Davidoff Dominicana again. And next time I go to Fukuoka, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get that. I'm in a cigar desert as of right now. Like it's even hard to get Davidoffs out here, and it's really not much that I can just go. I can't just walk out and just go get something really nice as far as a cigar right now. I said, yeah, Davidoff is typically mild, but the Dominicana was medium plus in strength, bro. Try it again and holla. I definitely will, man. I definitely will. And that's been my thing lately, bro. Like I didn't want to like completely just kind of write off cigars. I've really been trying to go back into stuff that hadn't blown me away and hadn't really blew my socks off or wowed me, just to try it again, just to see if it was going to be able to live up to something that to a lot of the feedback that the cigars get, because people love that cigar. People absolutely love that cigar, and it's not. I didn't hate it when I had it beforehand. I don't know if like comparing it to a Don Carlos, to me, it's like, man, that's big talk. That's real big talk. Cause I don't know. That's like an old reliable to me. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the Don Carlos, that's a standard for me. That's setting the bar for me. That it's like, okay, you gotta work hard to be better than that cigar for me. But that's just my opinion though, and I'm not knocking your opinion at all. So I'm definitely gonna get that a spin again, bro. I'm gonna see what it's like. And that's part of the fun. That's that whole thing that I was talking about earlier, man. That's the ability to chase that dragon. I love that adventure to be able to say like, hey man, somebody recommended this cigar to me. Let me go and give it another shot. And that's what I did with the allegiance. Sometimes you got to give it another shot. Sometimes it's like you might have caught a I wouldn't say a dud, but you might have caught one that was just like that wasn't the time or place, that wasn't the mood you were in, and it would be kind of cool to do a side by side comparison. You know what I'm saying? Just to do that with the I don't even know if I got any more of the just the standard Fuentes anymore. Do y'all get in that place, man? Like I smoked so many Fuentes at one point in time, man, that I got to the point where I stopped buying them just because I felt like it was a crutch that I was leaning too much on Fuente, and I felt like I was doing the same thing with the Dumbartons. Like I haven't smoked a lot of my Micaritas, I haven't smoked a lot of my Don Duramas, um, just because it's so easy for me to kind of get into that my comfort zone, and I don't want to be in my comfort zone too much now. Ironically, I stopped doing the reviews so I could smoke more of what I want to smoke when I want to smoke it, instead of like, okay, I got to do this for this show, I got to do this for views, and I got to do this for the people who have subscribed to me and all that. It's real easy to get in that cycle, and I didn't want to get to the point where like cigars became work. And what's the guy's name from Half Wheel? Charlie, I think that's his name, Charlie. And I know Charlie can be kind of grumpy sometimes, man. He can be kind of a curmudgeon, but it's one of those things where I kind of felt him when he was saying like, when he's doing, the consensus that it became like work for him, and he kind of lost some of the joy of cigars because he was so into doing it for the magazine, and he was so used to doing it for all these different reviews and stuff like that, that he kind of like he didn't care what he was smoking anymore. That's kind of a bad feeling, and I didn't want to get to that spot. And when you're making content for other people, sometimes you can kind of lose sight of your own goals, and you can kind of lose sight of your own palate and what you're smoking for, and you get burnout. And that's with anything. If you're doing it over and over and over again, and you're doing it for, you know, means other than just the fact of sitting back and enjoying a cigar. I was talking to Peter from Cigar Collective about that the other day, man. He was like, I kind of see why you just do lives now, because you can just kind of kick back and relax and just enjoy the cigar process. And that's an important thing, man. When we're in the group chat, we're always talking about how this is a hobby. It's an expensive hobby, but it's still a hobby. And the other side of the coin is that you want to do something that when it's work, you want to do the work that you enjoy doing, that you want to love doing. But you got to find that work-life balance, that you don't lose the love for what you're doing at this work. When I was a butcher, man, I could cut and sit back and make recipes or cut meat or make sausages and do all that kind of stuff. I could do it all day because it was therapeutic. But it was my 9 to 5 at the same time. I got paid for it. It was my work. Shouts out to everybody hitting that like button, man. Thank y'all for doing that, man. Um, but it's one of those things that it's like you don't want to you don't want to take the joy out of it. You don't want to take the joy out of like lighting up a cigar and kicking back, and that feeling when you hear the sizzle of it, of lighting up the front of your cigar and you're toasting it, and then you hear that crackle when you first draw and it's like burning the leaves the first time, and then you taste the the first puff of that. It's like, oh, I know where this cigar is going. That is just like, bam. That's like it's going straight into the veins. You dig? That's a cool motherfucking feeling, man. My kids are here. I gotta be careful. That's a cool feeling though. That's the part that I don't want to lose. I don't want to like sit here and I'm just like I'm smoking like all right, that I'm getting pepper and I'm getting cinnamon and you don't want to be in that the whole time. Hey, Space man, thank you for joining in, making it fun, homie. Thanks for joining in, and I'll let you know when I spark up that Dominicana, bro. Be easy. Am I making sense? I know it's weird because I'm talking into a camera right now, but I go on these diatribes, and sometimes it's a train of thought, especially when I'm just talking about these cigars, and I don't want to like lose y'all too much. Look at that, got some nice dimes on that though. This did well. This burned really fast though. I know it was only like a 44 ring gauge. It's like a little mini Lancero, but it burned pretty fast. But you don't want to get caught up in that whole thing, man, where you get bored and burn out. It still has to be something that draws you in, and that's the cool thing is about cigars. It's always a new flavor profile. It's always a new cigar that's coming out. It's always a new band to break down. It's always a new blend to analyze and nerd out about. And coming from this factory, or it's a new release from a company that you love or a company that you're not familiar with. That's the fun part of being able to go out and it still keeps you intrigued. It still keeps that flame going, so to speak. That's the cool thing about chopping it up with y'all and talking about these things though, because it gives me it gives me content in a sense too. It gives me stuff that to do a new short about, and it gives me something like all the stuff that I'm doing here when I'm just kind of bouncing stuff off the walls and just kind of vibing with y'all and going based off of y'all comments and y'all questions and all that kind of stuff. It gives me stuff to kind of put in the memory banks and to put down in my notes to say, okay, this is what I wanted to talk about on the show, or when I do the podcast, this gives me stuff to like, okay, I know I can fill up this much space on the podcast and talk about this stuff about. So I hope when I'm going on these like long soliloquies and stuff like that, that I'm not just boring y'all to tears and I'm just talking to myself. I hope it gives me some kind of worthy content and a new perspective on cigars and the way that I approach things, the way that I look at different companies, the way that I look at these brand owners. I don't know. I hope we all kind of look at cigars in a different way after that, man. And it's not just like it's just rolled up tobacco leaves. It is just rolled up tobacco leaves, but the magic and the alchemy behind it is being able to create something that I can take. Um, I can take a habano and then I can use my binder as let's say Connecticut broadleaf, and then I can fill this with Ligero, and then I can mix it with something, and I can make some magic out of that. I can create a flavor profile that's completely different than the next person is doing. I can make a cigar that's gonna taste completely different, and I love that whole hunt, being able to find something different. So I can only imagine what it's like to actually be a cigar blender and to be able to take your time and be like, you know what? I just created something that nobody else has. I just made something that's completely different on this market. And now that once I release this, I'm gonna have all the magazines talking about it. I'm gonna have Cigar Aficionado. I'm gonna have Cigar Coupe. I'm gonna have Half Wheel talking about it, and then I'm gonna have Master Your Ash pair it with something. That has to be a cool feeling to be able to release something into the market and to have people break it down and to match what you were trying to get, or they getting something completely different out of that. That has to be the same thing as like creating music or making a movie, or back when I was a cook, when you can make a dish and you can send it out and it looks different than what everybody else is doing and it tastes different from whatever everybody else is doing. That's the thing that when you're a nerd or you're an artist that makes you like get hype about something. And it's the same thing when you're a consumer. when you're consuming cigars, when you're going out there to purchase something, like you're not getting something that just tastes like old breadsticks. Alejandro said it's also dope when you guys big up brand owners when their product is worth their salt and adds to the lore versus BSing. Yeah, man, like, and that means something to us too. Like when you're a reviewer and like when you got, I look at it like when your favorite artist is like, making an album, right? And they put out an album, and you put your headphones on for the first time, and you give it that first listen, and you going track for track, and you're like, yo, this is a banger. And oh man, when he was talking about, his relationship in this particular song, or he was talking about being a father on this song, or he was just making a song about falling in love for the first time, or whatever the case may be, and you're able to dissect it, and you get something out of it, and you connect with it. It's the same thing. The way you appreciate a Tyler the Creator, or you appreciate a Bob Marley, or you appreciate Sade or whatever. All of them are different, and it's the same thing when it comes to these brand owners. Like I'm really looking forward to them when Nick Melillo is releasing something. I'm like, okay, I want to smoke this because I want to see what he's bringing to the table this time. Or Noah Rojas got a sleeper out right now. Yo, did you try this cigar? Did you taste this, and what did you get from it? That's part of the fun. And just when you're thinking about it like that, like it gives us something to talk about. It gives us something to share as a group and as a community. And that's kind of a cool thing, man. So I try my best to not just take shots at a Michael Herklotz because I'm not digging what he's doing. But even when I am being critical of his product, I'm doing it from an earnest place. But when I'm giving a shout out to a Rick Rodriguez or Eric Espinoza or EP Carrillo because they did such and such and such and such, or I'm comparing the allegiance to the pledge or whatever the case may be, I'm doing that because I appreciate their portfolio and I appreciate their body of work. Or we can get something from Cavalier, and Sebastian is doing something dope, and I love his whole portfolio. The same thing with the Aventura brothers. Like I like what they're doing, with Aventura. Like I really respect their craft. I respect their work. That's why I try to go so hard showing love for Jamon with Definition Cigars because he's new, and I feel like he's doing something that is beneficial to all of us who smoke cigars. He's doing something that is could possibly change the game. Principal has made cigars that I felt like, okay, they can push the needle, and they're gonna take the cigar industry and they're gonna make it something better. So now the Nick Melillos and the Eric Espinosas and the guys that is that's been doing this for a while, they got to change what they're doing. Now Rocky Patel has to look at Sanj Patel and be like, okay, there's a new Patel list on the scene right now, and this dude is killing it with $7 to $10 cigars. I got to go back and I got to find a new blueprint. I got to work my cigars and I got to do something better than I did before. So yeah, I think the commentary for influencers and for reviewers and the way that we shout out different companies and different owners, I think it's I don't think as influencers and reviewers we get enough props for what we do and the way we push the market, right? Because it's no way if you watch somebody like Saka, like dude is always in the background. He's always watching the YouTube reviewers. He's watching the Instagram reviewers. He's watching Half Wheel, and he's taking notes, and he actually takes that feedback and puts it into what he's gonna do on his next cigars. He might not truly give a damn completely about who we are, but he does care about how it affects his bottom line. And he cares about how it affects, if he's not getting, the feedback from the consumer, then what is he in the business for? Right? If he puts out a cigar and they're all getting bad reviews, his market is gonna crash. He's out of work. He's gonna become a has been. So I respect the fact that he's keeping his ear to the street to see what we are talking about. And he has these moments where he will send out a box to people like, "Hey, review these cigars. Talk about these cigars. Do something to kind of move the needle and push this for my company." I got nothing but respect for that. I feel like John Huber does the same thing. I feel like uh, Matt Booth is doing the same thing. And I like to see these guys. Osgener, he's doing the same thing. Tim Osgener, he's doing the same thing. I like that these guys are keeping their ear to the street. You got some of these cats that they sit up and they kind of feel like they're on a pedestal and they're in their own head and they're not paying attention to what we're saying and what we're doing. But we also just are cigar nerds at the same time. And the same way that we're talking about video games, and we're going back and forth and talking about video games. And, on the Infamous podcast, when we get to the end of the pod, we're talking about movies and TV shows because we're consumers. We really do appreciate, as people who are going out and buying these products and seeing the amount of effort that somebody is putting into making something. That's what this whole thing is about. You make it, we consume it, and we're going to tell you what we're thinking about that product that you're making it because you're making it for us, right? That's the circle. That's the cycle. That's the way that it goes. Anyway, I think I should end it right there. I didn't expect to be going for 2.5 hours. I really didn't. Thank y'all for watching, man. Thank y'all for all the comments. Thank you for hitting the like button, and thank you for kicking it with me for another live, especially during the middle of the week. I appreciate you, man. Y'all are dope. Y'all got anything else before I get out of here, man? Y'all got any other comments, anything y'all want me to chime in on before I hit that X? Nothing but love. This Aladino was solid, man. It's what they said it was gonna be. It was a very classic cigar. It was good. I don't think I'm gonna grade it, but it was solid. Peace and blessings to you. Peace to you, Ty. Peace. Thank y'all for joining in, man. Thank y'all for kicking it with me for this amount of time, man. Y'all are so dope. I mean it. Hey, keep smoking. Smoke your best cigars, man. Whatever y'all got in y'all humidor, don't just let them sit there and collect plume and mold. Don't let them just sit there and collect dust. Smoke your best cigars, man. Enjoy your cigars. That's what they're there for, man. They're there to be smoked. They're not all collector's items. Y'all stay up. I don't know if I'm going to be around on the weekend. If I have time on the weekend, I'll do another live. If not, I'll see y'all. I'm going to be in America for a minute next week. And I don't know how that's going to roll. If I get some time to do a live while I'm out in the United States, I'll do that. If not, y'all stay up. Dolce, peace to you, King. Y'all stay up, and I'm out of here, man. Audi 5000. Peace.